it's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. It was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 2, Episode 12. Conor, we're talking about rallying again.
We are indeed, Kevin. Favourite time of the week.
Yeah, we have another jam-packed show. We keep saying it, but we do. We catch up with Aaron Johnston, WRC Croatia Rally winner, Eamonn Kelly. Then you also caught up with Conor Mohan, Wal Crichton, Patrick O'Brien at the end of the event. Then Ronan Comerford very kindly done a vlog for us from the event as well. That's quite good. Now it's a wee bit special, I have to say. I also speak to Kevin Driscoll. We talk about the Rally of the Lakes coming up this weekend. Fourth round of the Tarmac Championship, it's unbelievable. And then we also catch up with Garry Jennings, who tells us about his new Fiesta, and we also kind of look forward to the May Day Rally, which his company sponsoring an event in the Enniskillen Motor Club run as well. But I suppose, Conor, before we go any further, we have to pay our respects to Craig Breen. What can we say? A rally hero and a proud Irishman. He's going to leave a very big hole in Irish rallying for the foreseeable future. You've seen
Absolutely.
that. You've seen that firsthand. Like not only here in Ireland but across the world, and you've seen that firsthand in Croatia. You've seen the way that the WRC family, how they reacted to the Craig's untimely passing.
Yeah, Kevin, not just a hole in Irish rallying, but a hole internationally. The event, it was incredible how everybody came together before the event. The weight, the feeling, everybody was shocked, stunned. It was very evident in the service park. It was evident to anybody we spoke to. Genuinely, the Hyundai team were in bits, every single person in that team. I mean, they weren't going to do the rally. It was only that on this, not using this word wrongly, but the insistence of Ray and Jackie that Hyundai took part. Otherwise, they were pulling the plug. Mm-hmm. And the team struggled. You could see it. In a couple of days in the build up to the rally, everybody was visibly shook. And then how everybody came together to pay their respects. I mean, they marked it on several occasions throughout the rally. And the rally family really came together. The teams came together, the FIA, the promoters, every single one came and paid their tributes. And the fans did. The most amazing thing was the amount of tricolours we saw out in the stages, and we were asking people, where are you from? And they weren't from Ireland. They were Hungarians, they were Czechs, they were Polish, they were Italian, they were German. They brought posters, they made placards, and the amount of tricolours, and we couldn't find an Irish person with a tricolour. It was just incredible. I mean, Craig brought us on a journey with him. Mm-hmm. And it touched so many people and involved so many people as they watched and listened to his, stage end comments and his quirkiness and his just joy and, constantly reminding us he was a lucky boy to be where he was. He never took it for granted.
For sure.
And, just incredible.
Yeah. And not only, did he bring Irish rallying to the world, he brought the world to Irish rallying. He talked about Irish rallying across the world. He made people, Vincent Bonner driving along, Dan Daly, right? Quirky, you said about the quirky things he said at stage ends, but he told the world how good our rallying was, and for that we'll have to be forever thankful. So Craig, rest in peace, and our deepest sympathies to your friends and family at this difficult time. I think without further ado, I think we'll catch up with Aaron Johnston, and we speak, about the end of last season and the season so far. Aaron Johnston, you're very welcome along to Crunching Gears.
Thanks, Gavin. It's good to be back.
For sure. So, Aaron, I think we should start off, at the end of last year, Rally Japan, yourself and Taka on the podium. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, sitting with a Japanese driver in a Japanese car in Japan.
No, definitely not. I think the way we finished off 2022 with the podium in Japan was just a culmination of the fantastic year that we had. And like you say, to be on the podium in Japan in a Japanese car with a Japanese driver, it's very, very special for not only me, but for Taka and for Toyota as well. So it was a big weekend for us and a big weekend for the team.
Yeah, I think for you personally, like, growing up in Ireland, we had the likes of, the Austin McHale, Andrew Nesbitt, and, the Toyota. There was always something a wee bit special about the Toyota here as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, look, growing up in Ireland, like you say, the Toyota was always a special car and a standout car for us growing up here. And to be representing them at the highest level of world motorsport is fantastic. And to be achieving the results that we did, especially in 2022 with the few podiums, was more than I could have ever dreamed of when we were standing on the side of the ditch watching the Corollas pass by.
For sure. And then, going in then to like 2023, stepping up then as a part season, and you're competing the whole season, but the part season as part of the factory team, does that bring its own pressures?
Yeah, of course. Every time we go out, there is pressure, not really from the team, but just from ourselves as competitors. We want to achieve the best results that we can. And this year, for the half season in the factory car as a third driver, for sure, the events that we're doing there, it's important to get to the finish and to score as many points as possible for the manufacturer's title. And we know that this is part of our job, but the events that we are doing in partnership with Seb Ogier also are events that Taka is very comfortable on and should be fast and achieving top results. So like we proved it in Sweden, albeit it was a little bit short. On Friday we were fighting for the podium, and not only that, even the rally win. And unfortunately we got caught out, but the speed was there. And the other events that we will do, like Estonia and Finland, for sure we will be pushing as hard as we can to score the points for the manufacturers and also to achieve the best result that we can for ourselves.
Yeah, and like, at the start of the year, Monty, probably not Taka's preferred service, come away there with a strong sixth place. And then, there has been a couple of, issues, shall we say, then. But Croatia, going into Croatia was the whole idea, drive your own rally, get to the finish, and rebuild the confidence almost, that's maybe make the way up, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay. It hasn't been the ideal start to the season from our own expectations, let alone anybody else's. So it was important to go to Croatia and get a result on the board, especially moving into Portugal in 2 weeks' time when we will be back in the third car to score points. So to build the confidence like we did in Croatia and still be, on the pace on the majority of the stages, setting top 3, top 4 times, it definitely was good. And it was a weekend that was needed for us to, just settle again and build a bit of confidence moving into Portugal, which obviously we'll be targeting an even stronger result.
Yeah, and like we can't leave Croatia without mentioning Craig Breen. Like the way the rallying community has come together over the last 2 weeks. It brought out it brought out the best of rallying and probably the worst of times. The way the whole rally community pulled together, it was lovely to see. And Craig was a good friend of yours too.
Yeah, okay. It's been almost 2 weeks now since Craig's fatal accident, and to be honest, Kevin, it's still very hard to find the words to describe what has happened. But we went to Croatia collectively as not only competitors, but as a family with everyone driving the cars. And I'm quite sure that it was Craig's wish that we continued to drive these cars like he so loved to do, on the limit and pushing for every tenth of a second. And I think the way that everybody got together and raced in Craig's memory was the best thing that we could do. And I'm sure Craig will live on not only with everyone in Ireland but worldwide, because as we've seen with the tributes that were flooded onto social media for him, that there isn't really much words that you could find to describe how special Craig was. And for me, and not only me, but everyone in the World Championship, like from here, like Josh and Eamonn and William, and now Paddy as well, that did his first event in Croatia, we will do our best to continue flying the flag for home, like Craig did for so many years, being the most successful driver from this island. So yeah, it's still something that's very raw and something that will take a long time to heal, but I think we have to keep going, and we just have to keep Craig's close family and friends in our thoughts and prayers.
For sure. And you mentioned the other competitors out there. Isn't this fantastic to see that the MI Academy, this initiative has become the envy of the world?
Yeah, look, what the work that the guys and girls are doing in the Motorsport Ireland Academy is second to none. To have so many Irish competitors represented at the very top of world rallying and achieving results. Obviously, like William, that was leading the junior WRC up until his small misdemeanor on Friday, and then obviously Eamonn being able to bring it home and take the win, and Paddy building the experience for his first time, and of course Josh as well, that has achieved massive things already in his career in the Rally 2 and in the World Championship. So, the future is bright for Ireland and for Irish motorsport. And, referring it back to Craig, I think, like Craig was already involved with the Academy, and just before he went to do his pre-event test, he was helping out the day before he left. So that shows the exact type of a guy he was. And I think it's important for everyone that we continue to build on this and do it in Craig's memory as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned this is the great thing about rallying. No matter if you're on the world stage or you're a junior 1000, like you yourself, you were out, helping out in 5 Mile Town earlier this year. Like people in rallying don't forget where they come from. They're always prepared to help out, whether it's a local club event, compete at the highest level. Like if some young guy starting out comes and asks you, you'll help them out. It's such a giving community.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in rallying is you're not racing really anybody else. You're only racing the clock, and that means that everyone can be, the best of friends, and the camaraderie between all the competitors is fantastic. And I don't think it's like this in any other sport. So for me, I got a lot of help when I was younger and trying to make my way up the ladder in this sport. And if there is anything that I can do for anyone, wanting to move forward, I am more than happy to help. And of course, we'll do the best that I can to help them and bring more people up into the sport from home. And this is also important for me, that to give back and to help out, because I have taken so much from this sport already. And okay, I'm nowhere near done yet, but even at this stage, if there's anything I can do to help anybody, I'll be sure to do it.
Excellent. And we're moving in now to the summer season, and like these new cars, we're only a year and a half into the development, and like 3 manufacturers come at this last year with a clean sheet of paper, and there's 2 points I think separating the top 3 in the drivers' championship. It's phenomenal how that they can build cars so evenly matched and coming at it from all different sides.
Yeah, listen, it's a credit to all the boys and girls, not only in Toyota, but over the three teams of what they have achieved, bringing a brand new car with a completely new hybrid system in, and everyone being, competitive from the get-go. So a credit to them, and especially for our team, everyone working in Uvascula and Japan and Cologne. The work that they are doing, it is invaluable, and I can only say thank you to them for the dedication and the time that they spend to improve the car and to improve the team, that we can go out and be competitive every weekend. We get to drive these amazing cars.
Yeah, and I suppose the car that started out Monday in 2022, for you sitting in it, it may look the same to us spectators, but it's probably, and in terms of the development, it has moved on massively in that time.
Yeah, look, it's an ever evolving sport. The goal is to always improve and to always get faster. And the car that we brought to Monte Carlo in 2022 was, an exceptional piece of engineering and design that was completely new. And what the boys and girls have done over the last 18 months to improve the car has been second to none, and that has been shown through the results that we have gained throughout last season and already this year. So yeah, everybody's goal is to get better and to get faster, and the only way to do that is to keep working hard, like we all are.
Yeah, and Hyundai, their team's doing the same. Even like M Sport, without Tonic now on board, they're driving forward now too. This is the pinnacle. This is like Formula One. There's like a team away ahead of everybody else. Rallying, it's a half spin. It's a slide wide can lose you at the rally, and that's fantastic, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we want as competitors, that the battle is close, and I'm sure the spectators view it the same way. So for there to be so many guys starting a rally from stage 1 up until stage 20 or whatever way it finishes on Sunday, the gaps are very close, and you're fighting for every tenth of a second. And I think from a competitor's point of view, that's the best way, that you really have to work for it and push to the absolute limit.
Yeah, and even now, in a couple of weeks you'll be jumping in now in Portugal, and you'll be pulling all the belts on the Thursday, for going out for the shakedown. Now, do you still get the same buzz, back, years ago when you were jumping in beside William Todd in the Mini? Like, that was what you wanted to do. Does you still get that same sensation?
Yeah, for me, I have the best job in the world. I wouldn't change it for anything. And every time you get into a WRC car or Rally 1, as we now call them, it's going to be a good day. So yeah, every time you put your helmet on and climb into the car, it's a fantastic feeling, and I don't think that feeling will ever get old for me anyway. And hopefully I have a few years left at the top of the sport to enjoy it.
Yeah, and we've talked about coming in now to the summer season and all that. There's some classic events coming up now. I remember you talked last year about the Safari Rally. Like, that was like a boyhood dream come true. Are you looking forward to it again this year?
Yeah, Kenya is always a standout event, and one that I enjoy going to every year. Last year was even more special because it was my first podium, and I will have memories from that weekend that I'll never forget. And going back this year, hopefully we can emulate that again and get a strong result. But I remember growing up and watching the coverage years ago of the Corollas and the Celicas going through the mud with the animals running to the side and the chopper following them with the bull bars and the snorkel on. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have the bull bars and the snorkel anymore, but I think the adventure and the challenge is equally as difficult as it was many years ago.
Mm-hmm. And you have that sense of history of the sport as well. The likes of the Safari or Portugal, household names. It must be, it must give you great delight to look at and to listen to it. That's me. And and have your name on that, and you name some of the drivers, the best of the best. You're following in their footsteps.
Yeah, listen, When I started this in 5 Mile Town 15 years ago at my first event, I never dreamt that we would get to the very top of the sport. And to be here now, sometimes I have to pinch myself and be really thankful of what I have already achieved. And hopefully we can continue to grow with myself and Taka and achieve even more in the sport. But already where we're at and what we are doing with the best car manufacturer in the world being Toyota, it's a very special feeling and a boyhood dream, and long may it continue for me.
Yeah, and like that part of that boyhood dream, like had to involve Donegal. We're nearly in June now, you know. Any chance you might get Yari Matty maybe to bring an Yaris or something over and give it a rattle over 3 days sometime?
Yeah, I think the entry's open for Donegal yesterday. So at this stage, I think Yari Matty mightn't even get an entry. So someday, hopefully, not only Yari Matty, but it would be nice to get Taka over to do an event. And you never know, maybe we can get this Rally NI or Rally Ireland over the line in the next few years, and it would be extremely special to compete at the top of the sport at home.
Yeah.
But if not, we'll try and get somebody talked into doing Donegal.
Excellent. And like, you know, you talk about Rally NI, would that not be, you talk about boyhood dreams, you know, that would be the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, whatever way you want to put it, for yourself. Like that would be an amazing adventure.
Yeah, look, 2007 and 2009, I was standing at the side of the road with Dad, watching the cars go by, and now to think that I'm at that level, and if it does come around to have the opportunity to compete at home in a WRC car with a factory team would be an absolute dream come true. And I know there's a lot of people working behind the scenes very hard to make it happen, and hopefully we can do that, because to compete at home at the top of the sport, I think would be extremely special.
Huge thank you to Aaron there for taking time out to talk to us, because I know he's on a very tight schedule. He's off, this week, then back to testing again. So I know he doesn't have a lot of time at home. And, the talk of Rally NI, listen, fingers crossed, we all want it to happen, but wouldn't it be just fantastic for him to have a WRC event on his doorstep, and to be competing at home? Just amazing.
Really would. So, you got the opportunity, to sample firsthand Croatia. It looked awesome on the TV. What was it like in reality?
Yeah, it was mixed emotions, obviously. So to be honest, I'll be genuine. It was very hard to enjoy it.
Right.
But having said that, just an event that threw up everything, like lots of jumps, lots of high speed. The roads, when you see the interviews in the chat on WRC Plus or whatever, and they're talking about the different changes in the asphalt and the tarmac and stuff, they're not messing around. Like, it literally is every 50 yards, 100 yards, there's a change in the surface, how the roads will be made. Like, we drove down roads in stages where half was on half of the road on one side was asphalt, and the other one was some sort of weird concrete-y mix. Just incredible. Some of it had zero grip as well. Like, the driver's guide, there was like a whitey sort of asphalt that they said was like driving on ice. We drove over one of the stages after the first loop, and there were corners there. It would have been any gravel rally you would have gone to. There was that much pulled out on it. You couldn't see the tar, and you were like driving over big marbles. So a heck of a challenge for drivers. And as we saw, it caught out Neville, it caught out Lappy. Then you had the issue with punctures as well. A very good event, very high speed event. Was great to watch, and boy, did it keep us on the edge of our seats for a bit, as well, as the lead changed hands. And then, going into the last day, there was this fight building between Tanak and Evans. It had everything, to be honest.
It did. And lovely to see Evans getting back to the one and ways, and for Scott Martin, it was very emotional at the end.
Absolutely. Like, it meant a heck of a lot to Scotty. It definitely did. And for Evans, it probably overshadowed what he achieved here. He's rebuilt his form. He's got a better handling of that car. He had a good, sensible drive, but at the same time, didn't let Tannock close in on him completely.
Mhm.
You know, so he really did play a very good strategic event, kept his nose clean, and I think that's possibly a little bit overshadowed with, you know,
Mhm.
the circumstances surrounding the event.
Yeah, and fair dues to Tannock, he seems to have this Puma, maybe not completely there yet, but well on the road to being refined.
Getting there. We had a chat with what do you call it, Jamie McMillan, and Jamie said, "Yep, they're making changes. They're trying to give Tannock everything he wants. They're not there yet, but yeah, he's closing that gap. He's getting a good handling of that car. He's getting it to where he wants and needs it to be." And I think it's going to be very interesting second half of the season as they continue to improve that car for him and he continues to grow into that car. Funny, I saw a very relaxed Tannock, more relaxed than normal. I saw him chatting to people. You know, you don't normally see Tannock with a smile on his face when you know his game face is on, and he seemed more relaxed. Whether that was just headspace was different due to the circumstances around that rally, but you know, a slightly different Tannock to what I've seen
Even
before.
stage end reports, he seemed more at ease with himself, too.
Mm.
So, and also Lappy, Lappy's had a difficult start to the year. I think he needed that third place finish. That's going to do wonders for his confidence now going forward.
He did, and a lot of pressure on him. And in fairness, I think Lappy was, from what I can understand, very hesitant about whether he was going to even compete. But he did. He went ahead. He overcame the emotional hurdles, and then all the weight was on his shoulders once Novell went out. So that was a big ask. With all of the other pressures and all the other things going on, and I think he really did well, and he kept it together. And again, you know, parts of that rally are very tricky, very difficult, very technical, and there's so many things could catch you out. And you know, he got past all, apart from one half spin, he got away with it all.
Yeah, and we can't, our own guys, Aaron Johnston, a good run, good steady run. He's talked all about it. Eamonn Kelly come through it all. He admits himself he wasn't the fastest over the weekend. He had a plan, he stuck to it, and taking the JWRC one, absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, that's just absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. And you're right, they did. They sat down, they could put a plan together for this event, and they genuinely did stick to it. And you know, a combination of improving over the whole weekend and taking advantage of some of the challenges his opponents had. He kept his nose clean, a bit like Evans, a very good, strong, steady drive, kept it sensible, and was able to take the win at the end, which was just, from an Irish rallying perspective, it was an uplift after what had been happening.
For sure, for sure. And Will Crichton, was it 10 fastest times over the weekend? And the fact that he missed most of Saturday, that's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, that was incredible. What a comeback. Like that, when I saw the video of the roll, it's like, hi, there was so little damage to the Fiesta in the first place. They got that Fiesta turned out round and back out again, and nothing was knocking Will or Liam's confidence. They were going for gold on Sunday to get because they knew points made prizes here, and they wanted the stage wins, and they really did drive incredibly. Very visibly fast on the Friday as well when you watch them on the stages compared to some of the others in the class. Very strong drive by them.
Excellent. And Patrick O'Brien as well too, first time at that level, and I think he handled himself, him and Stephen handled themselves particularly well. It was all about getting the mileage, it was all about getting round, finishing the event. The result inside the top 20 at the finish, commendable, and I'm sure Patrick knows he can be quicker, but this wasn't about showing how quick you were. This was about getting to the end, building up the mileage. This was vital. This is a huge step in his development.
Huge learning curve for Patrick at this event. Like I spoke to him after Shakedown, and he said in the first run at Shakedown, going over a blind crest, and then there's all these flags hanging in the middle of the road, couldn't see anything, and he brakes. things that you wouldn't experience at home.
Yeah.
So then next time, he was visibly faster again in the second run of the shakedown. I think it was six seconds quicker or something, as he adjusted to, the surroundings and the differences and the huge crowds and stuff. And again, just got faster over the weekend, and you could see it. It was visible on each time. Then on the next loop of stages, he was quicker through the corners or quicker through the jumps that we were at. Just an incredible, relaxed, calm. I think he had one puncture, so a fairly hassle-free, problem-free drive from, and he made the most of it. And I think, to a certain extent, there might have been a little bit of reins on him, and there's more in there definitely from Patrick and Steve, and I think they did a brilliant drive.
Yeah, for sure. And how little rallies has he done in total? Like this, and he's he finished in the top 20 of a WRC event. That's fab. He really is. And then we can't forget Eamonn Boland and the MJ. The interview you done with him before the event. Like nothing's any bother to him, and he just I'm here to do a rally. Let's get on with it, kind of thing.
Absolutely, and again, good, solid, clean drive. Just continued to clock in the stage times, and incident free, had a good run and another good drive by Eamonn and MJ.
Yeah, and some cracking times, to give them their dues, and such a professional setup, like the sip and run by Don Buckley and all that too, top class. I can't. It blows me away that those two guys can go and enjoy the rally and still set highly competitive times. It's brilliant. It really is. But anyway, sorry, you're going to say something.
I was just going to say, and the fact, still adjusting to the C3 as well,
True. So I think without further ado, we'll catch up with Eamonn to hear about his exploits in Croatia, and then Conor, you call with Conor Mohan, Wal Crichton, and Patrick O'Brien from the end of the event. It's not every day you get to speak to a JWRC winner. Eamonn Kelly, Croatia winner of the junior section of the event. What a drive at the weekend, a phenomenal rally. What can we say? Congratulations, I suppose we should start with.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's not every day you get to say you're a JWRC winner. They're hard to come by. Thanks a million. It's pure class and stuff of dreams, and to have to experience that and be in that position, it's just unbelievable. And I think anybody in rallying dreams of it. So I feel very, very lucky and privileged to be in that position.
Yeah, because I showing my age now, but I remember you how many years ago going round Achidui in a wee red Corsa, and the rally sit on you, it was nearly fold it in two to get round.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that from those early days in the Corsa, you're competing on the world stage. Is it like a pinch yourself moment? Is it ever, you ever look around going, how the hell did this happen?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's mad. And it all goes so fast, because not that it doesn't feel like long ago, but it doesn't feel like an eternity ago. It was still like 9 years ago or something. And obviously things move on pretty quick, but yeah, it really is like the stuff of dreams, because when you're that age, that's even up, like, it doesn't matter what age you are, to be honest, you're always watching the world stage, and as a young lad, like you idolize it, but you never really put yourself in that position. You just look at it and you say, it's the pinnacle. These guys are really, really good. It's just class to watch, and the atmosphere and everything. And yeah, so to be in the middle of that, it just feels surreal. It's crazy, but yeah, you do have to pinch yourself, I suppose. It's mad, but like I said, just feel really, really lucky to be in that position, and yeah, just want to try and enjoy every single bit of it.
Yeah, I think because it's well documented. Sweden didn't go to plan. The pace was good, but one thing or another. So I suppose you had to hit the reset button. Was there a lot of soul searching done then after Sweden?
Yeah, definitely. We went into Sweden, and I was anticipating the thing so much because I didn't know where I would stand, and I didn't really have a set plan as such. It was always just, well, we don't know where we're going to lie, so just kind of see what that is and take it from there. And I probably surprised myself a bit with our pace. Like we were, I think, after the first stage or something, fourth, or to be sitting in and around that kind of just outside the podium positions, with not much experience was probably more than what myself and maybe others expected. So kind of, I think in the moment got a bit like excited by that naturally, as anyone would, and didn't stick to any form of a plan and just said, right, I need to keep trying to build on this. So, if I push a bit harder, I could get into a podium place. And, naturally when you're competitive, you just want to do that and you want to push on as much as possible, but pushed on just beyond the limit in one corner, and that was it. It was all over, in quite a big way. So yeah, we went after the event straight away, first day back, and really broke it down, analysed every single thing that we could think about, and ultimately what we came out of it with many things, but one of the biggest things was that you need to have a set plan when you go into these events, and also understand that I don't have the experience that you need at times to try and be at that top pace. There's so much to these events that come with experience, not it's things such as being over the stages before, and driving just in different climates, different countries. And I've only raced in Ireland and the UK, and I only know that type of driving, so everything's brand new to me. So I can't expect myself to be up there on that pace. So yeah, I didn't have that plan, and the plan had to be just try and drive to the best of my capability and drive maturely, and make sure that I pick up as much experience as possible, and damage limitation, don't make mistakes, and just gather as much experience for the following year as possible. And that's what we said going into Croatia. We said, that has to be our plan. We can't, like I said, we can't expect to be racing at the top. We need to drive maturely, and we need to be as clean as possible. And we also knew going to be such a tricky rally. It may seem like it's a tarmac rally. It's I would be well set up for that. We have tarmac at home, so but it's not. It's so tricky. I think I spoke to Paul Nagel over a year ago, and I said, "Oh yeah, could be going out to Croatia. That should be beneficial. Haven't done everything at home." And he said, "No way,
forget it."
No way. So I was like, it's going to be such a tricky rally, and we've seen the last 2 years how much it catches people out. And they said if we can drive maturely and just stick to a good steady pace, and try and slowly build on things stage by stage, and try and just keep improving on ourselves and get the small positive wins that way. You never know where we might end up, and thought it'd be nice to be up around the podium places come Sunday. But look, obviously the plan, we stuck to it, and to be fair, not once, no matter what situations we got into, did we stray from it. There was plenty of opportunities where there was drama ahead of us, and we were within a certain amount of reach of saying, "Oh, well, if we keep pushing, we can actually overtake this guy." And we said, "No, just stick to the plan." And it's something that I said at the start of every single stage to Conor, and he'd say it back to me. And anytime you're talking to someone within the team, you'd say, "No, we're sticking to the plan." I guess why you have a plan. There's no point in disobeying it.
No,
we need to see.
And to have Conor there with you, that is, we know how in tune the two years are. That makes sticking to the plan so much easier, because it's a unified thing from both sides of the car.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be in the same wavelength, and not just me and Conor, but Willie Mavidi as well, Dad, and the likes of John Coyne at the Rally Academy. We all knew what the plan was going there, and the aim was to stick to it and see what we could achieve from it. And we didn't necessarily say we have to achieve a certain thing from this. It was just stick to the plan and drive maturely. And we had a bit of luck on our side as well, and it was unfortunate to see other people having issues. You never like to see other competitors fall short due to something that's out of their control. But look, I suppose that's what I meant when I said there was maybe someone shining down on us that day because we had a lot of luck, and but we'd also driven a very mature rally, and it paid huge dividends, and yeah, it ended very, very well.
Yeah, because like it's the old thing, to finish first you have to finish, and like your plan from the get go was get the mileage, and this is more important than the end result. It's we'll be hopefully be back here next year, that we want a good set, a base that we can have next year to build on then.
Yeah, exactly, because you're going through the stages, and you come around corners and you go, I know there's more in that. I know that you feel it, and you go, I could have carried more speed out of that.
Or been a gear up or whatever.
Yeah. And you know it, and you come to the end of the stage and you go, you know the difference between when you've had a good stage and not necessarily a bad stage, but a stage where you could have been on the edge a bit more. And again, we just had to keep saying no, but just be smart here and be. And I think we did find quite a nice happy medium. Like we still had some decent and respectful stage times, and there was a couple where we pushed on quite nicely as well and proved that the pace can be there. But we know there's more in the tank, and that's a good thing also, because it's reassuring to know that we're not coming through stages and going, where is
that 10 seconds, or where is that 5 seconds?
Yeah, I thought that was mental, and then realised you're like 2 seconds a kilometre off the top pace. And here it's just a matter of time to try and build up the confidence and the knowledge to try and achieve that. So because I'm not saying I could have gone and done that if I wanted, obviously not, but it's something that you just have to work towards. But yeah, that's what we went when we said stick to the plan, and yeah, look, it worked really, really well, and just really delighted.
And then going into that last stage, you knew you had like 30 seconds of a lead. Like, was it still, right, we've done the same all weekend, just stick to this for even this last stage, don't get carried away, don't think about it, just drive as normal?
Yeah, it was it was tough, because we came off the end of the second last stage knowing that we quite a gap, and honestly it would have been nice just to be put straight onto the start line of the next one, but we had maybe a 45-minute road section into an hour and a half regroup, so there was so much time to wait before we could do it, and I sat there with a knot in my stomach the whole time. But to be honest, I just kept reminding myself that, look, you've driven fairly well all weekend, and we went around this stage the last time, and I was actually really cautious the first time. And I was like, there's so much more left in there, so I was like, just not and drive better than you did the first time. I said, there's no way I won't be able to do that. So I'm well fit to drive a rally car, so just go and enjoy it. And you just have to keep reminding yourself of that over and over again. So anytime any bit of doubt crept in, I just said no. It's grand. Yeah.
And you mentioned your father there earlier. Donna has been there, done that, seen it all, the Irish Rally. He must be over the moon with that result at the weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you share the same passion, and I guess he lives it through me a bit now, but that's to be able to share that with him, it's class, because obviously back not too long ago when he was in his having different success, I understand what it's like to share it with him from that side, and it was such an amazing feeling. Like, whenever there was big rallies won, you're always refreshing results, or you're at stage ends and in service or whatever it was, and you know what it's like. So it's maybe a slight reverse role, but it's class from this side to be able to relate that back. And yeah, it's just unreal. And look, I'm very, very lucky to have him, but to be able to get the results, then it's even better.
Excellent. And you mentioned your team manager there, William Levitti, as well. He is a fountain of knowledge. No matter where you take him in the world, Wally seems to land on his feet and will find his way and find ways of making things happen.
Yeah, he's the master. He's the life and soul of the WRC. I think he's kind of made a name for himself now. Honestly, he's been such a great help to us so far. And to have an extra person there, not only do they take the stress away from different types of jobs and stuff that you have to do, because there's so much stuff that needs to be done in the week of these rallies, But just to have someone else there to lift the energy and lift the spirit, you know, and after a long day and you're in the car home and you're absolutely knackered, to have someone with so much energy to bring you up, it's class. And he does exactly that, and it's all out of passion too. Like, it's he wants the best for us, and yeah, it's a credit to him because he played such a big part in that as much as anyone. And yeah, it was just it's been great having him there.
Excellent, excellent. And we all know, there was a dark cloud over the whole weekend. What happened, Craig, has reverberated not only in the rally world but beyond. But the whole WRC, the way they handled it the weekend, I know sitting at home here, it was emotional. Like, I can only imagine what it was like for yourself being there as well.
Yeah. Here, look, it's been a tough week for, the whole rally community all over the world, let alone the Irish. But yeah, when you were there, you could feel that everyone shared the same pain and the same grievance. It was, we're all part of the sport for the same reason. We all shared that pain, and especially the Irish. But it was, no one was forced to try and put on any form of tribute. It was just out of pure passion and grievance, and just that feeling that everyone shared. And whether it was one of the top P1 drivers or just a normal spectator, everyone felt the same. And yeah, you got that sense of community there. And as a competitor going there, to have the fellow Irish competitors there, it was really, really great. Because naturally it wasn't the easiest thing to do either. When we got the news, we didn't know if we'd be going at all, because it's just it is a horrible piece of news to get. It's shocking, and it's it's just, like I said, to be there and the Irish with the Irish community, it's class. And a couple of nights we all went out for dinner together, and around the service park you're always kind of together. And it's it's fantastic to feel that type of support, and not only the other drivers, but the people watching the stages too, seeing the flags and the amount of people that were actually out there. It just makes you feel back at home, and it's class.
And the one thing as well I took from it, we all knew Craig's love of the sport. That shone through in the tributes, the smile, the Sierra, the stage end reports. So all that, it's left a great legacy behind, and it's going to be long remembered.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you need to love every minute of it, and I think he really helped to remind people of that, like just the art of driving and the feeling that you can get from that and how it makes you feel, because things get very serious and that can take the enjoyment out of it for some people. But if you go back, and personally I think of how Craig would get back into the Sierra and the feeling and the enjoyment that he would get, maybe not even the Sierra, whatever type of historic car it may have been. And because I remember personally, like when I did the Killarney Historics in the Mark II, and the feeling I got from that was unbelievable, because it was just an event of pure enjoyment, nothing else. And that reminded me of how much I actually really enjoy driving, because when things are so serious, it can be, not that you forget that, but you're so focused on everything that it's easy to forget it. And he was such a brilliant example of that. And I think that legacy will certainly live on, because it was just so pure with him, and so obvious that it's so easy to think of him and remind yourself of how much you need to enjoy what you're doing.
For sure. And then the news broke there the tail end of last week. You're going to Portugal in the Hyundai. Oh,
yeah,
that's, brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant would be one way of saying it. But yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to have the opportunity, and I can't thank the Rally Academy enough for putting me in that position. To be able to go to a WRC event and learn the stages and let alone do it in a top car, it's such a privilege. And it's the stuff of dreams. It's been a mad year already, and to be able to go and do this now is crazy. And Portugal could potentially be around at the juniors next year, so for me to be able to go and do it, it's crazy. And just yeah, the experience in itself. But no, like I said, it's a credit to everything that John and the guys at the academy are doing, and it's very few countries have. I to be honest, I have to think we're probably one of the only countries that have a system like this.
We are setting the standard. There's no doubt about it. Other countries can only dream of what guys like yourself is getting the opportunity to do.
Yeah, exactly, and it's I've gone and talked about it with other competitors when they ask me, what the deal is, and they say, we can only wish that we had this in our country, and so many people have said it, and it's. But yeah, it is truly amazing. So I'm very lucky to be part of it, and the amazing thing is that it's going from strength to strength every single year. Are all not only the drivers but the actual team in the academy are always learning too. They're always improving their system, and I've no doubt that for the younger guys who are like maybe 13, 14 now, I'd say there will be such an amazing system in place for them in years to come, because we're all learning off each other. From the guys who are the first sort of people in the academy, they've helped to build it and turn it into what it is today. So yeah, I'd say it'll be something really amazing in the future.
For sure. And then Portugal is going to be exciting, and then like the next round then of the WRC, then Sardinia as well, another classic event.
Yeah, that's going to be a big challenge. We thought Croatia was one of endurance, which it was, but this is going to be another level again. I think there's one of the stages in Sardinia, it's 50k long, and you're doing that, and probably it's like the start of June in Sardinia, so you're God knows what type of heat.
30 plus degrees, yeah.
Yeah. And I sweat in December on stage. I don't know what I'm going to be like. But yeah, they'll need a bucket for me. But no, that's going to be a seriously tough event, and especially in the week hours. But yeah, it'll be class, and again, one that will require a plan. But again, it's going to be some experience, and hopefully we can again bring a positive result. But yeah, we'll take it one event at a time for now.
Excellent. And before we wrap it up, none of this can happen without your sponsors as well. It'd be nice to give them a bit of a name check as well.
Yeah, as always, even seeing the reaction that some of the guys at Northgate got whenever we won, it was class, and it's great to give them that kind of reward back and feeling, and very, very lucky to have all of these guys on board. And at the end of the day, that's the feeling that they get of a good result that makes it all worthwhile for all of us, and to be able to share it with them is brilliant, and feel like you've brought something to them. But yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to have all them names on the car, and it's a credit to all of them.
So Conor, JWRC win, how does it feel?
Yeah, I don't think it really has sunk in yet, Conor, but it was we came to the rally with a plan, and we stuck by it, and we kept going and chipping away, and then today we realised we weren't going to be far off it, so we put on a bit of a push, and we kept going on and kept our noses clean, and we came away with the victory.
And tricky enough rally, any moments, any...
Oh yeah, here there was a couple of moments, but there was nothing that would you be worried about, but no, it's definitely a very tricky rally now. The roads were so different out here, and lots of gravel pulled out and big cuts and that, and you really have to, your notes all have to be right, and for it to be able to carry your speed.
Yeah, and I suppose there was a bit of uncertainty over the weather on Friday, whether it would rain, whether it wouldn't, and did you opt to take a wet weather tyre in the car?
Yeah, we did. We tried to keep it not play it safe, but we tried to always keep ourselves covered. If there was any sort of rain forecasted or rain to blow in, we were going to be ready for it, because out here 1 minute the sun could be shining and the next minute the rain's on top of you, especially down by the coast. It can happen so easily.
And then that leaves you a bit restricted then on tyre allocation then for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, no, the tyre allocations, we were always thinking ahead for Sunday, because we knew Sunday was going to be we were going to need to have the correct tyres, and if we had good tyres on Sunday, we were going to be able to put in some good times, because a lot of people would just start firing new tyres on at the start, and then come to Sunday and they've nothing left. So we done a tyre strategy and we stuck by it the whole weekend, and it all worked out.
And what do you call it? News then released for the Portugal, so stepping up to the R2.
Yeah, so we're joining the Motorsport Rally Academy for Portugal in the Rally 2 Hyundai. So it'll be good prep for Sardinia, and looking forward to getting up Portugal in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and a new challenge and a new learning curve.
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge now with the heat, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of force, but now we're looking forward to it and can't wait.
William, thanks for joining us. Rally Croatia is literally just finished. You've just come over the finish ramp. What a weekend for you.
Yeah, it's such a tricky rally to get right. A small mistake yesterday, and yeah, we had a rule, so it's not so nice. But then to come back today, all we could really do is try and show our pace and make no mistakes and get as many stage win points, and we got all that was an offer today. So yeah, it's a strong finish and sort of damage limitation, but yeah, it's been a difficult week in the run up to the rally after what had happened. So doesn't make it any easier, but I think it's fitting that Eamonn got the win.
And with regards to the championship, how does that leave things for yourself?
I think we've got maybe about a 20-point lead, but to be honest, it's so early in the year, and with double points in offer in Greece, I'm not thinking about it. But of course, it's a nice position to be in, and I genuinely probably wouldn't have expected it. But yeah, it's a good position to be in, but a lot of work still to do. So I think we just got to focus on rally by rally, and the next one's Sardinia. So I've never been there, so hopefully I'll enjoy that and try and do as much prep in the run up to it, and just try and get another strong result.
And what do you call it? Just looking back on the weekend here in Croatia, a dry event, tarmac event, but fairly challenging. Pollution on the road was a big issue for a lot of people. What is it like when you encounter that? It's I have to say, we drove one of the stages and it was just like parts of it were like marbles were all over the place.
Yeah, it's so difficult. The grip is always changing, even though the road maybe looks the same. And then obviously whenever the gravel, luckily it was quite dry, so not as much mud as last year, but more gravel. And when you're carrying so much speed, if you get the line slightly wrong, you touch the gravel, then yeah, you end up down the bank like I did. But yeah, everybody said it, it's such a tricky rally, and I said before the event, it's one that I'd love to get right, so I guess we'll just have to come back and try again.
And obviously apart from being able to cope with the conditions, etc., any other learnings you take away from this event?
Yeah, there's always stuff to learn, and obviously we'll have to go through what happened yesterday, and we'll do an analysis on the rally and try and figure out what went well and what didn't go well. So yeah, there'll always be things that we can take out, but I think as a whole team in Motorsport Ireland, everybody's pulled together this week, and a bit of good news with Eamonn getting the result. It's nice, but yeah, difficult rally, and I'm glad to get to the finish.
Patrick, Rally Croatia, it's just ended. Your first WRC event, your first time in Croatia, 19th overall. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels fantastic. I enjoyed every single minute of it, and can't wait to hopefully get again. There was some serious learning to be done over the whole weekend with changeable grip conditions and everything that goes along with the WRC, so unbelievable.
Like, it was a dry event, the weather stayed dry considering the recce had been wet and that, but the road conditions were very challenging. What was it like to drive on?
Exactly, the white tarmac that they use here is, I can only explain it as like black ice. It's crazy slippy, so you have really, really good grip, and then all of a sudden there's nothing, and it's a slight moment, but you start to get used to it and slide the car around on it. But it was fantastic. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and even in places where there were a lot of cuts, there was an awful lot of gravel getting pulled out onto the road. There was a few drivers that made comments that it was nearly like a gravel rally in places. How did you find that, especially on slicks, etc.?
Exactly. It was. I think you have to go in the cut. Like if you don't, you're off the road. So the cuts were huge, and even they were bracking the sides of the tarmac road. They were cutting that far off the road, so it was a different experience. But yeah, at least we know for again.
And you had a wee spin as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a bit of a spin, and an Austin Powers moment. We were back and forth a few times trying to get going, but look, we got away, and then no sweat.
Yeah. And any other incidents, or a fairly clean run?
No, it was fairly clean, to be honest. Like, the objective was to get around and no rally 2, and that's exactly what we've done. And some stages we had some nice speed when we were comfortable, and yeah, happy enough.
Yeah, everything went to plan. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Conor, I can't thank you enough for what you've done there. That coverage from pre-event in Croatia and then post-event. Thank you very much, and I'm sure everyone listening will enjoy catching up with those bits as well. Also, Ronan Comerford was over there, behind the scenes, and he done a vlog for us, and like the passion that this young guy speaks with about rallying, he is a joy to listen to. He is dedicated. He must live and breathe rallying. He was under immense pressure, the work he was doing over there. So I really appreciate him taking the time to do what he done. So Ronan, thank you very much, and enjoy this here. It's a fantastic listen.
Hello and welcome to Zagreb here in Croatia. We are here for round 4 of the FIA World Rally Championship. And of course there is only one person on our minds this weekend, and that is of course Craig Breen. We are rallying this weekend in Craig's memory, all cars carrying different tributes to him, and we were here to make and do him proud. So a little vlog for myself as I come out to Croatia this weekend to do some support with the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy team, and also some work with the FIA Junior WRC crews as well. It has been a really good few days so far. This is now Wednesday. We are getting ready to start shakedown this morning at 9 o'clock for our ceremonial start procedures and some other tributes towards Craig, which will happen later this afternoon. So I've done support on Tuesday and yesterday for the MI Academy team. I'm basically just meeting them on recce, making sure that they are well fueled and getting some insights into the stages, the conditions they're in, the characteristics of them, and just different bits and pieces of what to expect for the weekend. I also managed to drive one of the stages, and I seen how the ruts were already being taken, and cutting had already been started. So it'll be interesting to see now how the weekend progresses, because there is areas on the stages that that drops off the tarmac, we shall say, and also that whenever you're coming back onto it from cutting, there is very high risks of tire damage or punctures as well. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody manages their rally this weekend, because it is tricky in places. Some pollution pulled out onto the road, some quite mucky and rutted sections, as I say, but other than that we have a really good baseline of what we want to expect and get out of the weekend. So as I say, it's Wednesday morning here in the service park, so it'll be interesting to see how it progresses, and looking forward to keeping you up to date over the weekend. So we're at the midpoint here in Rally Croatia this Friday afternoon. We have 4 stages completed, and the role this morning was to be in among the team, analysing the times of all the WRC2 crews, but in particular our own crews, and analysing how we are going to change some setups and different wee issues that we've been having, and how we're going to implement that for the afternoon loop. So it's been a pretty productive morning. It's a good insight into the in-depth and the technology that we have to go by. So other than that, it's going well. So we will get ready now for the afternoon, and hopefully have a good run to complete day 1 here in Rally Croatia. So the end of day 1 is upon us, and we are here in the service park ready for flexi service now before Park Ferma tonight to complete the first day of competition here at Rally Croatia. So what have I been getting up to today? Well, this morning we started with the 4 stages to be run again in the afternoon, but we had some technical issues to deal with, and it was nice to sit in with the team and operate and see the different information coming through, both from WRC and through the various other platforms that is used to manage every crew as they are out on the stage as well. Luckily, we have had nothing major, and it has been a really good, productive, positive, and a good step forward in development here from Motorsport Ireland. Again, we are back from the first round, obviously, that the Motorsport Ireland Academy team has competed in. So this is the round 2 of the calendar, and it was nice to work with Patrick and Stephen as well today, where we got to do some pace notes and different areas on that side of things as well. I also got to meet with the president of the Croatian National Sporting Authority, Davorin, where we talked about how the academy operates, how I got involved with the sport, how the different activities of the academy has within it, and the different areas that we are trained in on our development days. It was also good to meet with the president of the Slovenia National Sporting Authority and the president of the World Motorsport Council to hear their views on the rally, and of course how we operate as Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy, and also to hear about the world of motorsport in general and the different areas and aspects that they are working on to evolve sport and bring it into the next level. So it's been productive, to say the least. A lot has been happening, so keep you updated as we go through the weekend. But for now, on Friday evening, it's here in the service park over by WRC Promoter, which I have been happily to get to walk around and see everything that goes on here as well. So yeah, it's been really good, productive day. I'm looking forward to tomorrow and Sunday. So here we are on Sunday at Rally Croatia, and we are about to finish the rally for the weekend. Round 4 has definitely lived up to its expectation. It's been really, really good, and it's been a great privilege to be here. Getting an insight into the team and how it operates at this level is a completely different ball game as to what I've been used to, so it's nice to be able to have an insight into how this operates and to get some tips and tricks from different WRC teams, our own team, and of course the junior WRC as well. I particularly spent some time at junior WRC this weekend getting to see how it operates, particularly speaking with Maciek, I am Sport Poland's director, and getting an understanding into the ins and outs of junior WRC. Of course, obviously we have our two of our own drivers, William and Eamonn, but it was also nice to get to chat with some other drivers as well, to see what their take and thoughts is on the event and how they go about operating within junior WRC. So I've been quite a few places, and throughout the course of this mini vlog you would have seen and heard of me talking about different things. So it's just now to sum up what I've been doing, sorry, and it's something that it's never took for granted. It's a great privilege to be able to do this, and yeah, it's all about the consistency and hard work. So keep it up, and hopefully we'll be here sometime. So now all it is that's left to say is we will now head towards the regroup zone, which will take place at a remote location today. So we drive now 40 minutes up north of Croatia to it, and meet the crews as they come off the stage before they head into the final stage, which will be the Wolf Power stage. So as I say, all that's left now to say is until we do that, it's been a really great privilege, and thank you very much for watching the vlog. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it, and as I say, it's now time to head back to Ireland to test a Rally of the Lakes there, ready for the next round of the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you at the next round very soon.
Thanks very much, Ronan. Last weekend we had the Maiden City Rally up in Shackleton, and Derek Garrity took the one. Great to see Derek back to one where he's like, I don't know how many birthdays he's had, but he's had a few. So great to see that, and I put another one in the polo. A great wee event is, some top line drivers out there. You had Desi Henry, Gareth Sayers, and all out there too. So it wasn't an easy one by no manner of means. Hannah Davison, that was on with us a few weeks ago there, she finished second with Jock Armstrong there in the Spicy Side Rally in Scotland, so well done to them as well. This weekend coming then we have the Rally of the Lakes and also the May Day Rally up in Enniskillen. I caught up with Kevin O'Driscoll, who will tell us all about the Rally of the Lakes. Kevin and Driscoll, we're ready for round 4 of this Tarmac Championship. It has been unbelievable this year so far. It's hard to believe we're almost at the midway point.
Yeah, we're actually past the midway point once this rally finishes, and all onto Donegal from there. Yeah, it's been fairly hectic there for the last 3 weeks. With West Cork and Circuit, and now into Killarney again. All within a month of each other. So the action is hot and heavy. And I suppose, to be honest, while it might be logistically a nightmare for drivers planning stuff, but at the same time, it's probably good they're getting a lot of seat time in between as well at the top level. So it's probably keeping them all fairly match fit.
Yeah, for sure. We spoke to Marion and Andy and Callum after the circuit, and Marion was kind of thinking maybe that he kind of lost out on not doing the circuit carry the previous week. But that's going into Killarney now. They're all going to be coming in the same time out of the car.
Yeah.
So there's going to be no excuses come Saturday morning.
No, there wouldn't be now this stage because their last outing was the circuit, so it'd be just interesting to see how it goes. I know I just see there today that I think Johnny and Desi were out all right. They made the city stages. No, Johnny didn't finish, but so they'll probably have a little bit more seat time gain since that again, and you couldn't rule out a good result for them either, Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. There's a kind of different dynamic with Killarney as well. I think it's it's 42nd running of the rally, so he's been around a long time now as well, and an integral part of the championship. It'll be interesting because there's a few little oddities about the rally that people might not always be aware of. Like, it's not, for a start, it's not Josh's luckiest rally. It's one that he's really struggled on over the years. Not a great finishing record or whatever, and I know he got second last year, but that was all by default in some respects with what happened because he struggled from the start last year with third tries and stuff. But obviously Callum has a couple of good results there. Sam is the one really with the form in Killarney, so it'll be just interesting to see. And I think the whole Beara stage thing as well is that Saturday loop. It's tough stages, and if you remember going back when Manus won the rally there in 2018, I think it was, Rob Barrowell pushed them all the way in the R5 Fiesta that year. So Rob is somebody I feel could be there. I think Rob and Sam have if they want to make a championship break, this is where they have to do it, because I think it's the one rally where both I think should have an advantage over their immediate opponents, I think, based on past history and their past results on the event.
Without a doubt. Like, Rob has two events in particular, and throughout the year he always goes well, as West Cork and Killarney, the two that seem to suit his style more than the other events. And like, as you say, I think Sam has won it twice of them.
Sam has won it twice, and he was third. I think he was third once, and he was fourth 3 times, or twice, something like that. And Rob has finished second or 3 times, 15, 17, and 18. So once to Sam, actually. So, those two guys, I think, obviously Sam with his previous winning on the rally, and Rob, I'd say, with, again, the Beara stages, I think, are the ones that could, will tell a lot. The early part of that on Saturday morning, like Moss Gap, is a bit like Ring in West Cork. It's a well-known stage. You're probably not going to gain huge time on that stage, but down to Healy Pass, down to Ardgroom in particular, actually, and in Cod's Head, they're fantastic stages. They're brilliant stages to even take photographs on, and the Wednesday Drive, and I think they're actually fantastic. They're epic. So I think it'll be just interesting how that will go. Now, as I said, they're tough. Sunday stages obviously won't be any walk in the park either. But I think whatever comes out of Saturday in terms of whatever way they settle down after Saturday, I think you'll probably, I'd be surprised if it changes a lot after that. I know it's a long day Sunday too, but I just think Beara could be a bit of a shakeout. Yeah,
I think the Saturday stages will kind of sort them out, and then it'll be kind of almost get through Sunday. But we're kind of forgetting the elephant in the room here. Rob Duggan in a polo, Moll's Gap. We've seen what he can do it in an escort. What's it going to be like in an R5? We're at 2017-18 Donegal, first stage in the Fiesta, and he was fast as R5. He may not have the same seat time as the other guys, but he has a natural talent behind the wheel.
Yeah, I think so. He's seriously talented. I mean, there's no question. Leah, I do think maybe the seat time. No, Keith Cronin was the same. Keith could hop out of a car and hop into a car after maybe 2 years out to be quick. Rob won't be a lot different, and you can be sure there'll be testing going on there as well. I think he'll, going to Moll's Gap. The only problem, as I would see it, is, and if it's a problem even, it's just that Moll's being the opener is a pretty fast stage. I don't think you'll gain huge time on it, no matter how fast you are, and plus the fact the escorts are probably going faster, really, than the polos. So I don't know how much time he could actually squeeze out. A lot might come down to tire choice on that Malls Gap stage anyway, first time round. Obviously, when you go down to TD Pass, it'll be a different story. I think he probably needs an advantage. I suppose best place for him to start off is on Malls Gap, and get some kind of a buffer even. But I think Malls Gap at that kind of a stage now has gone so wide over the years. You're probably talking. You'd be lucky, I'd say, to see 8 or 10 seconds between any of the top 10.
Yeah, because last year, Devine and Fisher were, 2 to 10th of a second. They couldn't be separated, and that is surreal. It
is. It just shows the pace they're at, and how it just shows how precise everything is. You just have to be on the ball. You have to be wake up and be ready to go. So that'll be Rob's. I think that'll be Rob's biggest advantage in that sense, I suppose, starting with something like Malls Gap that he's good on, but it doesn't matter. He won't be hanging around anywhere.
No, I sent Marion a wee cheeky message. You'll be keeping a wee eye on Rob Duggan's time on Saturday morning. He says he would think they'll be keeping an eye on him for the whole weekend. So
yeah. There's 3 runs I think over Malls Gap as well. So there's 3 runs over 16 stages in total. So that's almost a quarter of the rally will be on Malls anyway. But look, Ballochbeam is another one. That's probably one. That's another specialized, like our Groom, it's a very specialized stage. I think Gortnagan is possibly there as well. I'm not sure of some of the afternoon stages, but those 3 stages will be notorious for shaking out a field. There are some people who can go well on Gortnagan. Garry Jennings is somebody who springs to mind. He's not there this weekend, but he's just a love Gortnagan. His times just be incredible on it, even in the Group In car. And our Groom again, I think Sam, that's one of Sam's stages, to be honest with you, one of the good, and Rob Barrable last time. And Ballochbeam, of course, is, I can't remember who went well in that. I think it's Callum actually was going strong in that stage last year. So, and that's a very difficult stage as well. So they're 3 in particular that, probably with better nature, they're a bit tougher stages, they're a bit more tricky, and,
they will reward somebody that's really brave.
I know, as I said, Josh has had, I think he's had problems in our Groom before, and I think possibly Carl's Head as well. I mean, his best result was second last year. Up to that 6 is his only other result there. So it'll be a test for him now, regardless of the form. And if his form is good and he gets off to a good start there, then he will be hard to beat as usual. I think it's the one that he'll come under the most pressure in all of the remaining rallies. This is the one rally I think if there's a rally you'll catch him on, it'll be this one. But I'm sure we said this before as well. So
what I've seen with him, Josh, over the last 2 seasons, he knows how to drive a rally now. Whereas before he would have been very gung ho and one thing and another.
Yeah,
he knows now to play the percentage game. He will still be there to finish. He will get third, and if things fall,
he take his points now.
That's where I'm getting.
Exactly. Because that wasn't the Josh of old, but it has been definitely for the last year and a half. Even and it had its rewards from last year. In a couple of rallies where there was late retirements and it moved him up the field because he was still there in the hunt, and he was there to take advantage of that. So. Yeah. There's definitely maturity in his driving in the last 18 months, definitely, without a doubt.
Because Donegal, 2022, on the Friday morning, he was nowhere bad tire choice. The rally was gone. Sunday evening, he spraying the champagne,
Yeah, that's it. And it's just, as I said, to finish first you have to finish, and he proved that last year. So, and he's doing it again this year.
That's great. And it's not just himself. Andy Hayes is playing his part in that their team as well. It takes huge commitment from both sides of the car.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's obviously confidence in both sides. You can see that with them. They work really well as a team. I say they're practically unbeatable as a team. It seems at the moment. They really are. They're really good. Anybody who beats them has to have a drive an 11-inch rally almost. That's just the way it seems to be. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like obviously Callum then will, having won the rally last year, and I'd expect to go well now. He's tail up after the circuit as well. Marion is there. Marion will be quick anyway. Like last year was his first, I think, proper go at it. I think he had problems in 19, but he got 4th last year, and probably felt he could have done better. He probably got off to a bad start last year as well. You've Johnny Greer. Johnny a 3rd last year, so that was probably his best result. But again, he's been very consistent.
And he got a run on the stages there in the historics as well too. Which
that's right. Exactly. Some of those stages will be familiar to him as well. Yeah, exactly. Desi, third and fourth in the past. So he's like, again, he's capable of more. I mean, once he gets more settled into the Citroen, Declan Boylan is different. Declan and Gareth, actually, the two of those in the top 10. Declan has no form at all when it comes to Killarney. He hasn't really done any Killarney very often and hasn't had a lot of luck on the rally. And same with Gareth, actually, would you believe? That sounds strange considering he's tarmac champion, but the best result he had was 6th on it. So, it wasn't one of those events that was particularly kind to in the past. So, and it's been, just been about over 10 years since Gareth was there, and Declan's only done it 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years. So, it'll be interesting to see how those guys get on now as well. They've had, I suppose, mixed enough start to the championship themselves, but yeah, they're experienced enough at the same time.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's great to see Alan Ring back and a frontline car again as well. He's dabbled in the historic his last few years there as well. To see him back in the polo, unlikely he's going to win the rally, but we'll be keeping an eye on his times there. You'll be there, maybe top 8, top 10, thereabouts.
He will. I mean, Alan has finished in the top 10 several times in West Cork. He's like 2nd overall 1 year, so he knows. But and again, he's a bit like Josh, and he'll finish a rally. He won't see Alan not finish. He'll get there, and if he's he'll get a good result on the back of that. One thing that's interesting as well, looking at that entry list, is the we're talking about West Cork and the number of Citroens and in circuit, but it looks like the Polo is the car for Killarney. There's I think there's 8 or 10 of them there on the list in total. So the Citroens have kind of disappeared a little bit on this one. There's no Cahan, obviously, and a few other guys, but there's a lot of Volkswagens on that list.
That is for sure. And it's just amazing. Like, one good result can swing them back around again too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a certain car for each event.
Exactly. And then you've still got Joe McGonigal, Aaron McHale, Brendan Comiskey, Jason Mitchell. All those guys is going there thinking they would like to be nipping into the lower reaches of the top 10 at the very least, So
they will, of course, yeah. I mean, they would have all had form in the past. Joe McGonigal is another one, let's see on that list as well. Actually, that caught my eye. But actually, Michael Boyle is down at 30. But I mean, I would expect he'll be quick enough as well. There'll be 2 guys. Darragh Reardon, of course, has won the rally twice in the past. He's down the list there a bit as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting. There's a nice kind of list of cars there, and some guys that we haven't seen out for a while, and it's good to see them back.
That's for sure. And then haven't even touched on the modifieds yet. We've got Eves, Kiernan, Murphy, McKenna, Jason Black, Chris Armstrong, Barry Mead, Eddie Dougherty, Jack Newman. Again, that's
they're all supporting it well this year. I think I don't think Daniel is starting actually. I think Daniel is not starting, but the others are out there. Yeah, and again, Kevin has always gone well. I think I don't have the previous results to say for the Lakes there. Kevin is very, very fast, but not lucky. So I think the same could apply to Gary Kiernan, and then Conor Murphy, of course, crashed in West Cork, but it's local to him now. He'll be looking to go hard here now, and he could be somebody to watch. And obviously Jason Black and Chris Armstrong on good form as well at the moment. Barry Mead, can't rule him out either. Barry's always quick, and again, this is probably a territory he likes and he's familiar with, and has had good results in the past.
For sure, and Barry, as you say, the knowledge from Killarney, it seems to be one of those events that seems to suit his style as well.
Yeah, I think so. It is. I mean, look, he's a brave driver anyway, and I think those stages will suit him. And I think all those guys we've mentioned are like that. They're all, they're all pushing each other to the limits there, and they've had good days and bad days in Killarney. But at the same time, there's any one of those guys are capable of taking a top result. It'd be just interesting, and I suppose I should have looked at it before I came on air, just to see if you combine the results over the years between modified and Mainfield, who's done the best out of that. It'd be just an interesting experiment, maybe prior to Donegal, but because obviously some guys before the results were amalgamated could have been running well inside the top 10, but as I said, it'd be just interesting to see what their past record would be like. But we can be certain sure there'll be at least 1 or 2 of those guys finish up in the top 10.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The top modified will be at the worst 8th or 9th, I would think, if not higher.
I think so. Yeah, I think so too. I'd be expecting that myself too. Yeah,
especially if the weather's favourable as well. Too. So
yeah, exactly. I haven't seen the long-term forecast, know what it's like yet, but that would mean anything when it comes to Killarney weather. It could just change and drop of a hat.
Killarney is one of those, obviously maybe it's peninsula or whatever, but it can
mountainy
be,
kind of area. Yeah.
you can have dry stages, wet stages, just all within a loop too as well.
Yeah, and particularly, and even the difference you can find between Cod's Head and Ardgroom, two coastal stages, they're just two very different stages. One is very fast and flowing, and the other is extremely tight and twisty in places and just difficult. So you're going to get two very different. And of course, you're also going to have the Healy Pass, which of course you're starting low, up high, and back low again, and you've got different conditions there dealing with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we haven't really spoke. We have kind of skirted around as the championship. The great thing is 3 different winners. It's left the championship. It's not going to be a one-horse race. It really is the championship that keeps on giving. I know we keep saying this, but we are blessed with it.
Oh, we are. I mean, look, we just said it there. We've three winners in 3 rounds, like our top 3 seeds in the rally. But then you can look down to the next 3 after that, and you're talking about a guy who's won the rally, a guy who's led the rally, and a guy who's capable of winning a rally. So, in Sam, Robert Barber, Johnny Greer, and of course Rob Duggan did as well. Who's to say Rob couldn't do it? I mean, Eugene Donnelly kind of came out and blew everyone away in Killarney about 20 years ago, remember, and he wasn't long inside the WRC at the time and wasn't getting a lot of seat time. But so if he's brave enough, and again, it comes down to tire choice, weather conditions as well, and everything else, and obviously local knowledge will help a little bit. But I think Rob might be up against it, but he's an extremely talented driver, and if he's hanging around there close by in the first stage, then you could expect a big result. Yeah,
and if the weather is consistent over the weekend and it's a consistent tire choice over the weekend, I think if he's in a shout of it come Sunday afternoon, I think he will be the man to watch. And if there's 5 or 6 seconds going into it in the last loop, I would favour him.
Oh, I would too. I think, I mean, like as I said, he's extremely talented. He's just not out probably often enough for us. In the mindset himself, probably he'd love to be out more often as well, I'm sure, and we'd love to see him out more often. As you said, he's based on Johnny Gall in the R5 a couple of years ago. He's a good driver. Look, it's great to see these talented drivers out and about, and like to see all of them out more often. And we're lucky that we're seeing quite a number of them out there this year anyway, and every round to date.
Because we've seen it in previous years, maybe a decent in Galway, and then maybe the circuits maybe not as good and one thing and all. But it's then consistent this year, which is great for us as spectators, great for the championship, and it must be a great buzz for the drivers too, that every rally that's so competitive. Yeah, there's proper racing going on there, and I think maybe what's helping it slightly as well is, touch wood so far, the retirement rate has been relatively low as well from the top guys, so the incentive is there from round to round. Guys if you're picking up points all the time, then you'll be incentivized to get out and go again, whereas obviously if you have a couple of retirements, it's kind of hard to motivate yourself and get out after round 4, regardless of what the event is. So I think the fact that the retirement rate has been relatively low so far, I think is probably contributing to why we have such battles at the top end of the field as well, and long may it continue. That's for sure. And then touching on then the historics, that's been a fantastic championship up to date, so far this year, and I think Killarney's just going to continue on. They're at their halfway point now. This is round 5 for them now, isn't it? Round 5 out of 8 now, so so they are at halfway already. It's interesting, and what's probably interesting in some respects is that the entry is actually smaller than it has been for the previous couple of rounds, notwithstanding the circuit in terms of numbers. But what's really interesting is it's the top UK drivers are all actually back over and competing, and they're, I mean, if you look at the Irish contingent, Trevor Wilson and Luke McCarthy are the highest at 10 and 11. But Fergus, I don't think Fergus O'Mara is going, but Duncan won in West Cork. Marion is very, very quick, as we know, because he won in Galway, I think. And then you have Tom Clark and Wayne Evans, who are kind of close by in every event. Rob Smith is extremely quick. I'm not sure if Rob might have even come close to winning this. I think possibly, I don't know if he won the historic, but he was very close to winning it in Killarney a couple of years ago in the main Valley of the Lakes. You've Garrett Lloyd, Will Onions, Adrian Evans, Phil Rogers. There's quick drivers all the way down there. And like Trevor Wilson, who won the circuit as well too. In the post. Exactly. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Like these guys have a couple of rounds now. They're probably more familiar with the tar now and in Ireland, especially the UK guys, and it'll just be interesting to see how that goes. Very hard to call a winner on that one, actually, to be honest with you. I think if I stick my neck out, and I would possibly say Tom Clark or Rob Smith might edge it, because Marion had no luck in West Cork. Tom was getting extremely quick,
in West Cork actually, and Rob has the experience of doing it before.
I
some of
think
these guys have I think some of these guys have done historic lakes anyway, so there's it's not going to be new territory for anyone. But
No.
I just think there's a couple of guys there. You feel that they're on the up, and the win is not too far away from
I
them.
think Rob Smith, I remember seeing him in the Ulster, or it could be 7-8 years ago, and that was around the British Historic Championship. And
He's serious driver.
He's serious driver and very committed on Tara, definitely. So it has all the makings of another fantastic event now at the weekend.
It does. And in the juniors, I wouldn't be maybe overly as familiar with all of them. I know a few of them. I think Dara Donovan West Cork obviously won it well, and is very, very fast, but not the luckiest in terms of mechanical, mechanical issues have held him up in the past. Jamie O'Rourke will be thereabouts as well. Evan McAvoy, another Cork driver, very quick. Ben McIntyre. There's a few guys there now that'll it'll be interesting to see how they'll go on the Sunday. So I'd probably tip Dara possibly if the car stays together, and he'll strengthen his championship credentials. But I think there's several guys there who could take the win.
As usual, Kevin has top notch analysis there, and looking forward to the lakes this weekend. Conor, we're round 4 of the Tarmac Championship. It's got all the ingredients of being another epic rally.
Absolutely does. And like, what a competitive championship we're having as well. Wow. Throw a dart at the top 6 and pick a winner. Absolutely incredible. Genuinely.
I think Rob Duncan at number 8. I do, I said to Kevin as well, I see, Rob being a bit of an dark horse in this year, He has phenomenal speed. He's one of those guys that seem to can boot of a rally car for a year and step back in and go quick. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on his times over the weekend, So I think the modified there's a really cracking entry for it as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tight race once again this weekend.
It is. Fingers crossed. I think weather's looking okay for it as well, which will help. And Callum Devine always goes like a rocket in Killarney. And then there's Marion growing in confidence. He's well used to that event now too, and his speed's been building up as well, and he's got the win under the belt this year too. Then
Josh Moffat, what can we say? That's not really been said, So that is for sure. So no doubt we'll speak more about Killarney next week. I also got the chance to catch up with Garry Jennings, who tells us about the Enniskillen Rally at the weekend that's on Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, and also about his latest, move over to the Rally 2 Fiesta. So Garry, saying this weekend coming, well, next Monday, Bank Holiday, all roads lead to St Angelo's Airport. Enniskillen Motor Club run the May Day Rally, which your company is kindly sponsoring.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's good to give something back, I think, locally to rally, and it's probably one of the first events I ever done, and probably a lot of people that start off. It's one of their first events. It's like, see, the Grand Prix is like the Bushwhacker Rally or the Circuit of Ireland. When you're starting off, you all want to do Enniskillen. So yeah, it's this time of year again, May Day. It's always the same weekend as the Rally off the Lake. So a lot of people will be making the long travel up from Rally Lakes on Sunday to do the airfield on Monday, which is kind of a routine thing. So yeah, it'll be a good day's fun.
Because in years gone past, you'd have been, you'd been one of them guys, finished the rally on the Sunday, buttered up the road then to get competing on the Monday as well. Yeah,
that's right. In fact, the year one, the Rally Athletics, we just left prize giving at 4 o'clock and stood up the road to Enniskillen to do the airfield that morning. So yeah, a lot of people do that. So yeah, it means people like supporting their local club, and I think Enniskillen Motor Club have a good gang of people who put a good event together, and then all the local ones like to do it for. It is about winning, but it's always been a bit of fun, and there'll be a lot of spectators there, and yeah, people like running a bit of a show, and it's talked about here for a couple of weeks after it.
Yeah, and like as well as being a rally, it's a family day. It's the kind of one you can bring the kids to, because they'll have ice cream vans there, they'll have kids things to entertain the kids as well. So it's not just it's not just for rally heads. It's kind of a day for everybody to come along to.
Yeah, and for people that don't understand, on the stage you can see the car at 4 or 5 different times on the one stage, where if they go to a road rally, they only see them obviously the one time at the one junction. So yeah, you can stand there, airfield and watch the cars do the full circuit, and double lapping and stuff, and like there does be passing on as well, which is kind of strange to rally, and there'll be an odd passing manoeuvre towards chicanes on it and all. So yeah, I went up last year to watch it, and yeah, it is a good day's fun, and Yeah, I think depending on the weather, as you say, if it's a good dry day, well, hopefully the weather's given, it'll bring a lot of family people there as well with all their families, and you see ice cream, chip shops, toys, it's all there.
Yeah, and like another important thing then as well this weekend as well, you've got a different navigator set with you, and there's a few other guys. The end of the season last year, yourself and a few others kindly donated seats to the John Armstrong, the fund to get him back to the last round of the JWRC. So like from that side, it's going to be a bit of crack for the guys sitting with you.
Yeah, without a doubt, and there's 3 or 4 of us that put seats up for prizes for John Armstrong, which was a very successful night. And I actually forgot about it until 2 weeks ago when Barry McNulty said you have to do the airfield. So yeah, look, I haven't even thought about it. It'll be a bit of fun, but I must thank Enniskillen Motor Club because they kindly donated the seats, the entries for the rally. So it was good to them as well. So it's although we supply the car and all the tyres, they've actually donated the entry. So it's hats off to Motor Club for doing that, because if he's oversubscribed event as it is, and they give us 3 or 4 people entries, I think it was very good. But it was all for good cause, because obviously John is an Enniskillen Motor Club member.
Yeah, and like you said about Enniskillen Motor Club, how good they are. Like Enniskillen Motor Club, I always found is it's a club run by competitors for competitors. They know what people want, don't they? They know what you guys are looking for.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like you've like a Ron Neely in there who was he's at the helm of it, and he was when I was starting off, he was very helpful to me, and like he's one of the main men in it. And yeah, it's Enniskillen Motor Club is rally men, run for rally men, and I put a lot of effort into it. Like even Barry McNulty that works with myself in here, he is a member of it and will be organising. But unfortunately, this Saturday he's getting married, so he hasn't much to do with it this year when I write the sponsorship check from here forward. But so I think maybe there might be a couple of sore heads on Monday morning come as well, because Cahill McCourt's doing the airfield and a couple of boys, and yeah, we're all for the wedding on Saturday. So maybe Monday morning, maybe a wee bit doggy on it, but we'll see what happens.
And then a couple of weeks after that, then we head then up Marfelt direction for the Tour of the Sperns. Like another important event for you, like one of your sponsors, Go, is the main sponsor of that event as well.
Yeah, it's about giving back to the people who give to you as well. So that's why we're going there, and it'd be good to go up there with this new car. We got before the Circuit of Ireland, which was up around the Sperns as well, but obviously be different stages in a few weeks' time. But at least we've been on that terrain on the car. But I would really have liked to have done an airfield or took this new car till Ahadui or somewhere to get the feel of it for handbraking it and sliding about. We didn't get that opportunity before the Circuit of Ireland, so I think this Monday it's good to get seat time and to slide the car about, handbrake it, all them wee things that you can't really do on open roads. So yeah, I think it's playing into our hands. We have this re-rally now before we go up to the Tour of the Sperns.
Yeah, and like you talked about the new car, like you were adapting well to the previous the R5 Fiesta. Like Galway was a prime example. Like you were in the hunt there, so like it must have been like a bittersweet to part with it at the finish up.
Oh, hey, I didn't want to let the car go, but I just know we were on the limit on the car, and those are two things going to happen. Whether going to bracket or rack it. So it was time to change it, and yeah, we're a wee bit hesitant, but yeah, we got this new Rally 2 Fiesta, and I can't wait to get out on it again. Very exciting car. I know people are all running them down, but I can't fault it. A real driver's car. Obviously, my team converted from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, and previous to the Circuit of Ireland, it was ready 2 nights before, so we got no testing. But now with the Circuit of Ireland over, and hopefully with the airfield over, we'll be in a good stead then for the Sperns. But look, technology is a great thing. Yeah, the car is 10 years newer than the other car. It's just even sitting in the car and no road noise. Everything's just brand new. And yeah, I can't wait to get out of it again now. And I must thank C&M Motors Noma for providing us the car, and obviously Neil McHugh for converting it. And with ears and Pirelli tires and John Steele and M Sport, the package feels real good, and can only encourage more people just to go down that route and get these new cars out now and enjoy them.
Yeah, because like you were a world rally car man. Like you had your S12B, probably the ultimate, in its day. Like, but that boat has sailed now. Like the S12B probably wouldn't be competitive, and it'd be the lights only go to make it last 3 days would be nearly impossible at this stage.
Yeah, we're chatting now 20 years. It's a long time. And like watching Neil Maguire down in the first round of the National, and definitely the whack and the noise of that 12B coming is like nothing else. But you can see the brake, and you can see where the R5 cars, the R2 cars can go way on and late to the corners, and they can carry so much more corner speed. Really, fourth gear corner in the Subaru is flat out in these R2 cars and R5 cars, and that's still what I'm finding so hard to adapt. Like, you're going into a corner and your eyes are actually telling you can't go around this, but you're feeling in your body you can. So, it's trusting your body to go on in where your eyes are saying it doesn't work, but it actually does. So, yeah, technology is a wonderful thing this way. I've moved on, but I wouldn't knock the 12B yet. I would love to take mine out again, but it's just they're so valuable now and so hard to get parts for. But yeah, as you say, I don't think they'll stick 3 days with Donegal.
Like, so Garry, what is the notable differences from your previous rally, your R5 to the newer version of the car?
Yeah, well, the previous R5 car was a 14 car, so obviously this car now is a 23 car. So with 9 years difference in technology, the main thing that I see is the power, and traction, and suspension. The older cars we had completely sorted for bumps and stuff. With this new car, ball more power, diffs is fantastic, but the suspension, it just isn't right yet. But it's got a lot better over the Circuit of Ireland over the one day. So hopefully if we get another day, it'll be perfect. But I don't think anybody has spent enough time in these R2 cars to take the most out of them, to the geometry and suspension. And I think it's a fantastic bit of kit. We've worked very closely with Matt Edwards and stuff, who have did them in the past, and we've got their setups, and it does help with getting the feedback from them fellas before we get into the car. And then obviously John Steele and M-Sport been very good with us, and it's a good package, and I'm looking forward to getting out in the car again. Where before we were doing the best we could in the older car, where I know there's a lot more to come now in this newer car, and really looking forward to getting back out in it again.
Yeah, and do you still, you're saying that you can't wait now for the experience. Do you still get that same buzz stepping into a rally car on a Saturday morning as you did 20 years ago or whatever?
Without a doubt, no. And I wasn't in the older car there because I was just driving at 10/10 and was getting on the edge where something was going to happen. So it's good to get in this car again and learn it. But I think there's a smile back in my face because I like working with stuff to make it better. And I think we can work with this car to get it better. And I'm looking forward definitely to get back out in this car and to get back up to the front of the field. It's very hard to go to an international one of these cars and fight with the top 10 guys because they're all going so hard. Like, I think anybody that comes to any rally in Ireland at the minute, that comes out of any rally in Europe, is going to find it very hard to get into the top 10 again. All these fellas we have at the minute, because they're all definitely on top of their game.
Yeah, you've seen the Irish rallying now for how number of years. Isn't it in a phenomenal place we're in at the moment?
Yeah, without a doubt. The only thing that I do find is wrong again is getting very expensive. Right. The R5 cars are fantastic bits of kit, but I looked at all the different options. I looked at the Citroens, the Hyundais. I looked at everything, and the cars are all the same price, but it's the maintenance bill you get with all these cars and repair bills. Stuff is so expensive, and that's why we think we choose the Ford. Parts are a lot cheaper for the Fords, easier got. We have to go to M-Sport to get them. Body panels and stuff are reasonable, but people might think of these rally cars are okay. That they're a set price to buy. They don't see the bigger picture of the maintaining these cars. A World Rally car is made back in 06 to do this. Well, in 02 the Safari Rally and hard rallies. But really, these R5 cars are really built for smoother rallies. They're not really. They haven't really the components to go over a long period of time. So although they're a lot cheaper to buy, they're dearer to maintain because we're putting more bits frequently on them because of the regulations. But yeah, do I enjoy it? I wasn't enjoying it, but I definitely am now. I can't wait to get back out again.
And I suppose at this time of the year, our thoughts are already starting to turn towards June. Donegal, you've won it twice. Would you like your name in the trophy another time?
Yeah, it's been very unlucky for me, Donegal. I should have won it probably more times than twice. I think I've been in the top 3, maybe 6 or 7 times. It's just very hard to get everything perfect for 3 days, Donegal. And you're right. Even Rory's, the reason why we've got the new car now is to get time in it before Donegal. Donegal is the one you want to get around. It's the one you want to finish every year, and it's the one that most people recognise as the biggest rally probably in Europe.
Yeah, because like it has that special allure. Like last year, like going into to Sunday, like nobody would predict it the way it turns in its head. It's going fast enough to be in the hunt, but being realistic enough to know that the rally's not over till it's over. Like you've seen that in the
Yes.
past yourself.
Oh, well, there's always stings in the tail. Donegal proved that. But yeah, it's 3 long days, and it's not like Friday's a handy day. It's not. I think here this year we're going to Donegal Town, Killybegs on the Friday, so it's going to be completely new territory to everybody, which will be good. And then Saturday, Sunday we'll probably be back up round stages that was more known. But like Friday's going to be so tough because everybody's going to be out of the blocks on Friday at hard as can go, but it's all going to be new stages. So like I am not a person for DVDs. I do carry in car cameras, but I never watch them unless it's a piece up on the screen on TV. I never would sit down and watch them. I find them boring to watch. But I know all these younger ones will, if this rally from this year, they will watch last year's stages several times. I don't find that. I don't think it's not bad for the sport, but it's like playing a FA Cup final on Saturday and for 3 days before playing the same team. I don't find it exciting. I would rather just go and make my notes and drive to notes. I don't like memorising it. I don't like. I think it takes away a bit from the sport. But I think when we go to these new stages on Friday, it'll probably see the natural drivers who can go in blind and put the punch the good times up.
For sure. And like before we finish up, I suppose like there's been the dark cloud hanging over Irish Rally, and for the past almost 2 weeks now at this stage. Like Craig Breen, like he was all that was good about Irish Rally, and he competed in the world stage, but he still enjoyed coming home here and doing the likes of the Clarendon Historics. He recently competed in West Cork. Like you got to know Craig over the last few years.
Yeah, but people always forget Craig Breen started at the very bottom and made his way up till the pinnacle of the sport. Like I can't remember the year, but I remember Craig Breen navigating in Killarney Rally Lakes. Fella Patchy Maguire was running the car, and I remember Craig Breen and the driver forgetting their helmets going to the start of Moll's Gap, and we had a wild hand getting them the helmets to the start of the stage. But he started at the very bottom of the sport navigating before that car and went the whole way to the and really there was more to come. There was still more to come, and we must say, being down at the funeral on Tuesday, I must take my hat off till Ray and Jackie and the whole family, because people mightn't realise, but they shook everybody's hand at that funeral on Tuesday. They stood there till the last person was leaving that graveyard. I think that's a testament to the family and to Craig, the way that they appreciate people being there. But for them, that family to stand in that graveyard and shake everybody's hand was unbelievable. It was, I think, a very sinister moment in motorsport, and I think it's been a long time since we've seen something like that. I know we don't want to see it again, but I think, and plus Mike and Bex, the things they said in the chapel, I think there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was just, I think everything was just so smooth about Craig, and I think it's more about a celebration of the legend he was now, than to dwell on what happened. And it's out of every great tragedy, there's always positives come out of it, and I think he definitely has lifted the Irish people. And to see what happened at the finish of the World Championship there at the weekend, we've done so much for people and so much for Irish people, and I think Jackie and Ray should be very, very proud of that. And I know everybody was so proud to be Irish, and it brings everybody together. It doesn't matter if you're Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland. It showed that on Tuesday at that funeral. Everybody was together and so happy, and that's right. And it's just, there was people like John Coyne was there. There's people from America there. They all flew in for that funeral on Tuesday. And I know it's not right gauging things, but that funeral was in the capacity of, if I remember, of the Fisher funeral. It was just so many people from all over the world, and everybody was there, and just such a poignant moment on Tuesday. But that's because of the respect that everybody had for Craig.
Thanks very much there to Garry Jennings. The one thing that has run through this podcast tonight is the admiration that everyone has held for Craig Breen. And when the time is right, we will revisit this, because there's so much more can be said about Craig that we've only touched on it tonight, Conor, really, haven't we?
We have, and look, everybody's emotions are raw. It's when people have the headspace to talk about Crane, and share their stories about him with us, we'll do something then. But at the moment, it's a case of just, our thoughts are with the family.
For sure. So please, can you like, share, rate, subscribe, all those things? We keep mentioning and you keep doing it, so much appreciated as always. So that was episode 12, season 2. Until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.